Hello, students. Welcome to the seventh lecture of the story The Gift of the Magi by O. Henry. As we know, The Gift of the Magi, the story is set on the occasion of during the setting of Christmas Eve. And as we all know that Christmas is a time of gift giving, sharing of happiness, joy, smiles and laughter. But Della is not happy. Della, our character, she is quite tensed, having no money or very little money with her to buy her husband a gift. Now Della or Jim, they are presented as a happy couple, but poor enough, very poor, because the income has been reduced from $30 to $20. Having no other source, Della decides to sell her hair and buy a gift for her husband, which she does. And she was awaiting her husband, who was about to return home, Jim. Jim returns after 7 o'clock, and he is quite shocked to see that Della, she had her hair cut. He could never expect that Della would be cutting down her hair, that hair which she had taken so much care of, which she considered to be a very precious possession, her only possession. Now Della goes on to explain the reason why she had to cut her hair. She makes a very important statement. She tells Jim that perhaps the hairs of my head were numbered, but my love for you, nobody could ever count my love for you. Okay, so this statement ensures, or rather it asserts, Della's selfless love for Jim. The most treasured possession of Della, her hair, it stood in no comparison with her love for Jim. So dedicated, so pure and selfless her love was for her Jim. Okay, so that is why she says that if it is possible to count my hair, you may count my hair. Even the hair on my head will be numbered perhaps, but no, not my love for you. My love for you can never be counted, can never be compared. Okay, it is immeasurable. So that is how she expresses her love. And Jim, what he does, he had bought a small gift for Della, and we don't know why, but then he throws the packet, that brown packet, on the table. Today we will see what is the content of the packet and what is Della's reaction, right? So let us go to the story. White fingers and nimble tore at the string and paper. So her white fingers, Della, she was already nervous. She was very, very tensed, and her tension, anxiety and fear, that is seen in the color, in the changing color of her face, as well as the fingers which has turned cold and as such white, bloodless. So with her white fingers, bloodless fingers, cold and bloodless fingers, okay, that means tensed way, and she nimbled, tore at the string that bound that package. And then an ecstatic scream of joy the moment she unwrapped the package. She could not but shout out with a glee, with joy, with happiness. And then, alas, a quick feminine change to hysterical tears and wails. But then, just a moment after her ecstatic scream of joy, she starts crying. Wailing. Wailing means crying. Okay, she's shouting and crying. Okay, that's something like an hysterical woman. Hysterics actually it's connected with craziness. Just like a crazy woman, she was crying, shouting and loudly and crying like uncontrollably, necessitating the immediate employment of all the comforting powers of the lord of the flat. She cried so much that it required all the comforting powers that the lord of the flat had. That means, what is the author trying to say here? Della was so upset that she started crying, and she was crying uncontrollably. So Jim, who is supposedly the lord of that flat, okay, the master or the owner of the flat, okay, the bread earner of the flat, Jim, her husband, right? He had to do everything in his reach in order to comfort her, stop her, console her. Okay, so this is what is being meant here. She was crying very much, and Jim, on his part, he was trying to console her as much as possible. And only after his interruption, probably Della stopped crying. Right? For there lay the combs. So why she was crying, we don't know. Till now we haven't understood the reason behind her ecstatic scream of joy, and then there is a sudden change, her crying. For there lay the combs. Okay, so what was there inside that packet? There was a set of combs. The set of combs, side and back, that Della had worshipped for long in the Broadway window. Broadway is actually a shopping place. It's a very busy, populated area in New York, a place which is known for its Broadway plays, okay, theaters, as well as for window shopping. Window shopping, I suppose you have come across the term. Window shopping refers to a very modern approach towards marketing. The goods are displayed, or the products are displayed on glass windows, and the customer is easily attracted and drawn towards that, buying that commodity, right? It's a very, very new concept, and it was developed in America first. Okay, with the rise of consumerism. And Della and Jim, whenever they went out shopping or marketing, Della had many a times looked with admiration at the windows of the shops, and at what? At this particular thing, a set of combs. It was something that she had desired to buy, but then she knew that it was not possible to buy because they were indeed very, very expensive. Beautiful combs, pure tortoise shell with jewel rims. So what was these combs made of? The combs were made out of very rare substance, that is tortoise shell, the shell of a tortoise. I suppose you all know what a tortoise is, and it is considered to be one of the most endangered species nowadays, because prior to this announcement, prior to the declaration that this is an endangered species and it is the responsibility of one and all to preserve the species, tortoise was also hunted down, especially for its shell and also for the meat, right? But during those time, it was a trend, it was fashion, vogue to wear tortoise shelled costumes, not costumes, accessories, especially like combs or maybe other decorative pieces. Okay, and these combs that Jim bought for Della, these were made out of that rare tortoise shell. That means what? It was very precious and expensive too. And also the rim, the edge of the tortoise shelled combs, they were jeweled, they were decorated with precious metal as well as maybe stones, right? They were expensive, sorry, just a shade to wear in the beautiful vanished hair. The shade, the color of the combs, it was exactly something that would suit Della's beautiful but vanished hair. Now the hair doesn't exist. Vanished also sometimes mean colored or dyed hair. Okay, so vanished or vanished, maybe the author has used vanished in like a pun, having double meaning on both sides. Vanished, colored, dyed, or vanished, something that is no more. They were expensive combs, she knew, and her heart had simply craved and yearned over them without the least hope of possession. From the sight itself, Della could make out that these combs were very, very expensive. And since they were expensive, she could never expect that she would be able to purchase them. Yes, it's true that she yearned, her heart desired to buy or maybe use those combs and decorate her lavish, beautiful brown hair. But there was the least thought of possessing or purchasing those set of combs. She never demanded, she never asked Jim that I need those combs or something like that. Okay, but from this we can understand that like Della, Jim was also very, very cautious. He could read the eyes or the mind of Della, and he had understood, he had seen her craving, her that desire for those combs in her eyes, though she never mentioned it. So silently both are able to read one another's mind. What can be better than that? When a couple is able to understand one another's feeling without being mentioned, this is the greatest example of a perfect marriage, of a perfect relationship, right? So let's continue. And now they were hers. They were hers means the comb were hers, but the treasures that should have adorned the coveted adornments were gone. But the hair that would have actually used the combs, these are no more. That means now the combs are totally meaningless. They're just a set of decorative jewel and nothing else, because it's useless. Why? Because she has no more hair to wear those combs. So that is the reason why first when Della saw the gift, she was very excited. She screamed out with joy, and the next moment she was crying impatiently. It is because of this. She had got the thing that she had desired, but then it's too late. She doesn't have the hair to wear the combs. As such, the gift has been rendered useless, valueless, and fruitless. Right? Okay. But she hugged them to her bosom, and at length she was able to look up with dim eyes and smile and say, "My hair grows so fast, Jim." So for the first time, Della realizes why Jim was so upset seeing her. Okay, and here her maturity comes into play once again. She hugs or clings. She drags the parcel closer, collects the combs and places them very close to her heart. And then after some time she was crying, and as such her eyes were dim with tears, tearful eyes. Okay, dim eyes, tearful eyes. So everything was hazy before her eyes. And with her dim eyes, she looks up. She was crying, holding the combs, and after that she looks up and says, she could see the sadness on Jim's face, because he had expected, maybe he had even thought that he would personally decorate her hair with the combs, but now all his hopes are lost, right? So that's why she collects herself and she tries to console Jim with this thought that her hair is going to grow fast. Before also, earlier also, we had heard her saying that my hair grows awfully fast. Since her hair was of a very good quality, she was sure that very soon it would grow to its full length and she would be able to wear the combs, right? And then Della leaped up like a little singed cat and cried, "Oh, oh." Suddenly, Della remembers something. Do you know what? What is she remembering? So, like a small cat that has been disturbed from its sleep, Della leaps up. Have you seen the reaction of cats? They are sleeping peacefully and you strike them or stroke them on the back, then they will jump up suddenly. So just like that, she was lost in her, that caring attitude towards Jim, when suddenly she recollects, oh, I have that thing, no? Oh, she says. Jim had not yet seen his beautiful present, so she had bought a very expensive gift, and we know what the gift was, isn't it? It was a platinum fob chain. She held it out to him eagerly upon her open palm. Palm means the inside of our hand. So she was holding the gift, the platinum fob chain, in her palm, in her hand, and waiting for the arrival of Jim. She had almost forgotten that she was still holding it in her hands. And now suddenly she remembers, oh, I have to give him the gift. So she opens up her palm to display the gift. The dull, precious metal, dull because the color of platinum is grey again. Precious metal seemed to flash with a reflection of her bright and ardent spirit. She was so excited with her purchase. Remember earlier that day, she had ransacked the store finding for a perfect gift, looking for a perfect gift, and finally she gets one, and she has a lot of thoughts in her mind how that gift is going to complement Jim's character, how they would go hand to hand. It's like one thing complementing the other. And she had also mentioned that quietness and value, these are two words that applied both to Jim as well as the platinum fob chain. And now she, with that excitement still in her heart, she opens up or displays the gift, the rare gift, that is the platinum fob chain. And the precious metal, though it is dull, though it is grey, it shone with the reflection in her of her joy, of her spirit. Isn't it a dandy, Jim? Dandy means very trendy, very classy, stylish, elegant. Okay, so she says, isn't it a dandy, Jim? I hunted all over town to find it. Do you know, I had to search all over the town, and this is the only piece I got. You will have to look at the time 100 times a day now. With excitement continuing, she says, earlier you were ashamed, earlier you didn't want to look at your watch, now you have to look at your watch 100 times, and the excitement is not going to be over anymore. Give me your watch, I want to see how it looks on it. So she demands for the watch. Remember, Jim's only possession, his family heirloom, the golden watch, the golden pocket watch that had been handed down the generations, from his grandfather to his father, and now from his father to him. So, and he was ashamed to take the golden watch out in company because it had been attached to an old leather strap. And Della, she could notice it. And that is why she had actually purchased the platinum fob chain. And now she is eager to see how well they would be complementing one another. The gold watch accompanied by the platinum fob chain. And she demands and she questions Jim. Come on now, take out your gold watch. I want to see it attached to the platinum fob chain. Instead of obeying, what does Jim do? Instead of obeying, Jim tumbled down on the couch. He sits down heavily on the couch. Sit down with, giving your just relaxing your weight and falling on the couch with a heavy thud. Okay, so he tumbled down on the couch and put his hands under the back of his head and smiled. As you can see in the picture, Jim, he's smiling, but there was something fishy in the smile. The smile is quite ironic. It's a smile of sarcasm, very ironic. Something very silly might have happened. Okay, so he didn't take out the pocket watch. Rather, he sat down on the couch, putting his hands behind the back of his head and smiled. He said nothing. Now he says, Dell. So just like Della used to call James Dillingham Young just Jim, similarly Jim also used to call his Della Dell. Okay, and he says, Dell, let's put our Christmas presents away and keep them a while. They're too nice to use just at present. He makes a very important remark. Okay, fine, now forget our gifts, just place them somewhere. Why he's saying so? Put the presents away and keep them a while. Leave the gifts. Why is he saying so? He says that they are too nice to use just at present. They are so nice that it can't be used at present. Now why is he saying so? See here. He says, I sold the watch to get the money to buy your combs. And now suppose you put the chops on. So this is what has happened. Just like Della, she had sold her hair to buy Jim's fob chain. Here, Jim on the contrary, he had sold his pocket watch to buy Della's combs. Right? So both of them, they had sacrificed something which was so dear, so close, and so the only possessions they had in their life, Della's hair and Jim's gold watch. Both are gone now. And why are they gone? Because they have been sold. For what? To buy something that either both of them were expecting, both of them had desired for. Okay, Della sacrificed her hair because she thought that platinum chain would provide a little bit of happiness to Jim on Christmas especially. Similarly, on the contrary, Jim had expected that by selling his pocket watch, by buying Della her combs, he would be able to give her a gift of happiness on Christmas. But now the gifts have been turned useless. It has been rendered, the gifts have been rendered useless, meaningless, because they can't be used. Why they can't be used? Della's hair is gone, Jim's pocket watch is gone. Now they have indeed acted very foolishly by selling their assets. Okay, and that's why Jim says, just come on, leave the gifts aside. They're too nice to be used at present. Okay? And forgetting everything, just look at the way he is addressing the entire thing. He's not angry, he is not frustrated. He's just smiling, wondering how foolish and how innocent their love is, how truly they loved one another. And with that smile of satisfaction, he asked Della to put on the chops, because remember, the stove was on, the frying pan was put on, and the chops were ready. So it's time to have the special dinner, the dinner on Christmas Eve. And with that, the story ends. Okay? Now let's come to the concluding paragraph. That very paragraph where our author O. Henry, he was about to make that dark assertion. He told us that he would illuminate us on the dark assertion, the dark reality, something that was not visible to the eyes of a mathematician or a wit. The Magi, as you know, were wise men, wonderfully wise men, who brought gifts to the baby in the manger. They invented the art of giving Christmas presents. So I think I had told you the story of the gift of the Magi, the three Magi, how they came, how they were guided by a star, and how they were brought or guided towards that place where baby Jesus, he was born, Bethlehem. And these three Magi, they were very selective about their gifts, and the gifts actually represent the three roles. They are symbolic gifts because they represent the three roles played by Jesus Christ on earth. And as such, they are considered to be the Magi or the wise men, right? And it is the first, the tradition of gift giving in Christmas, it is first discovered or started or initiated by the Magi. Okay, being wise, their gifts were no doubt wise one, possibly bearing the privilege of exchange in case of duplication. And their gifts were not only wise symbolically, but then suppose they were duplicate, they also had the chance of exchanging the gift, because gold, if it was impure, that could be even exchanged. The frankincense, if it was duplicate, that could also be exchanged. Similarly, myrrh, the very expensive perfume, that could even be exchanged, because these were material things, right? So that is why their gifts bore the privilege of exchange if they were duplicates, if there was something wrong with the gifts. And here I have lamely related to you the uneventful chronicle of two foolish children in a flat who most unwisely sacrificed for each other the greatest treasures of their house. In contrast, the author has told us the story of Jim and Della, the story of these two foolish children. Why is he calling Della and Jim foolish children? He is calling them children, see, because they were as innocent as children, and foolish because they have made a very foolish decision, or rather unwise decision they have taken up. And what is the unwise decision that they had taken up? They had sold the greatest treasures of their house. And unlike the gift of the Magi, the gift that were being brought by the Magi, these gifts cannot be exchanged. Why? Della's hair, it won't come back even if the combs are returned, right? Similarly, the fob chain, even if it is returned, the pocket watch is gone forever. They won't be able to buy back the pocket watch. So ultimately, they have done something which is actually an act of foolishness. If not for them, at least to those people who live in this materialistic world, where every good, every commodity is measured in terms of money and price tag. That is what is being seen. When somebody gives you something, what do you see? The price tag, isn't it? How costly it is. So if not you, at least some people, most people do that. But these two foolish children, they could not understand the value of the greatest treasure, and they had most unwisely sacrificed. Now, sacrifice, this is a very important term here. See, but in a last word to the wise of these days, he is talking about, he is addressing the readers and calling us. I want to tell you people who consider yourself to be wise people of the modern world, okay, a last word to the wise of these days. These days, the materialistic days, let it be said that of all who give gifts, these two were the wisest. Of all who give and receive gifts, such as they are wisest. Everywhere they are wisest. They are the Magi. But though Jim and Della's act of sacrifice, it is seen or it is considered to be an act of foolishness for people like us who live in this modern, corrupt, materialistic, consumerist world, at least O. Henry, the author, he realizes that these two children are actually the wisest surviving soul in this modern world, because it is they who understand the true spirit of Christmas. The spirit of Christmas. Now, this is the dark assertion he wants to reveal. Remember, he was talking about $8 per week or $1 million a year. What is the difference? And a mathematician or a wit, he would be giving you the wrong answer. Yes? So, mathematician and wit, just like the modern wise people like us, we would consider that there is a difference, there is a huge difference between $8 and $1 million a year. And we would consider, or rather we would see at the thing from the value of the thing. Okay, we would look at the materialistic point of view that more money gives us more happiness. But Jim and Della, look at them. They did not consider money to be precious. They considered the happiness that they could see in each other's eyes to be more valuable. And as it has been told, as you have seen earlier also, Christmas, the tradition of exchange of gift. Why do we exchange gifts, especially during Christmas? It started with the birth of Jesus Christ, and the Magi, they brought expensive gifts to Jesus Christ. These gifts represented three things: that Christ is the King on earth, that Christ is divine, that Christ is going to sacrifice. He is an epitome of love and sacrifice. So, in the modern day world, there has been a change in the concept of the gifts. The entire concept of gift giving has changed, because what we look after is how much is happiness. If we ask the question, what is happiness? So we would find the answer in money. That it is money there where happiness actually lies. The modern man, he is never satisfied with whatever he has. He wants more and more and more. Now, in this rat race for competition, the true spirit of Christmas, that is lost. The true spirit of Christmas, something that embodies humanity, that is lost. And what is the true spirit of Christmas? The true spirit of Christmas is nothing but love. The true meaning, as it is being said in the Bible also, the true meaning of Christmas is love. John, one of the saints, Saint John, he has said that for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. Give love. Meaning of Christmas is the celebration of this incredible act of love. The sole meaning of Christmas is the celebration of this incredible act of love. So it is in the act of love that the true spirit of Christmas is hidden. And Jim and Della, they understand this true spirit behind the meaning of Christmas. And that is why without a second thought, they sacrifice the most valuable assets in their life. Because for them, their love for each other, that meant more. The happiness of one another, that meant more than even the richest of possessions in this world. Okay, and that is why our author, he considers Jim and Della to be the modern day magi, the modern day wise men. I suppose you have understood the story, you have understood the concept. We will have a discussion on the literary technique as well as the other symbolisms and figures of figures of speech that are being involved in the story later. We will discuss the character sketch as well as the other things involved, the humor, the satire in the story, the ironic twist in the story, everything else in our upcoming classes. So thank you for today. I suppose you would go through the entire video, and if you have any doubt, in case you find anything difficult to understand, please make a call, make a question and get it clarified at once. Okay, thank you very much.